All right. My name is Ayoluwa Adedeji. I'm a family life practitioner, parenting coach, the founder and the lead consultant at the Model Family Focus. Please let me know where you are joining me from. You are joining me today. Let me know where you are joining me from. Okay. All right. Let's get started. Today we are exploring a very crucial topic that concerns every one of us. The unseen scars. How parents unknowingly harm their children's mental health. The unseen scars. How parents unknowingly harm their children's mental health. This, I still like to know. Okay, Sunday Adedeji, thank you for joining me. Thank you. Please let me know where you are joining me from. I like to know where you are joining me from. The unseen scars. How parents unknowingly harm their children's mental health. Oftentimes, parents do some things. We put on some habits, some parenting habits that harms our children unknowingly to us. We are doing those things out of good intention. Yes, we have good intention. Like I always say, every parent has good intention. But unknowingly to us, these habits are harmful to our children's mental health. And that is why we need to understand, we need to know what exactly are those habits. How are we doing those habits? And how are they harming our children's mental health? Many parents do not realize that everyday activities, actions, or inactions can hurt their children's mental health, leading to serious consequences like depression, anxiety, and even suicide. Yes, even suicide. So today we'll talk about how parents harm their children's mental health without them even knowing it. And most importantly, how parents can ensure that they raise children who feel supported, happy, and mentally strong. That is the focus of this live show. How parents can ensure that they raise children who are happy, who are confident, who feel supported, and who are mentally healthy. Before we move on, I'd like us to have a global overview of suicide. Yes, I want us to understand the seriousness, the urgency in it. Why we need to take our children's mental health seriously. Truth, our children's mental health is not a luxury. Not at all. It is as important as the physical health. Most of us children, we protect our children. Most of us parents, we protect our children from mosquito bites. We ensure they have good and healthy meal. We ensure they go to good schools. But we do not pay close attention to their mental health. Mental health is as important as physical health. It is not a luxury. It is a foundation for which the life of a child rests on. Now let's have the global overview of suicide so that we can understand how urgent it is for you to take our children's mental health seriously. According to WHO, suicide is the second leading cause of death among young people aged 15 to 29 worldwide. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among the young people from age 15 to 25. This is from WHO. Approximately 800 people die of suicide each year. This is serious. Seriously serious. Approximately 800 people die by suicide each year. And about 10 to 20% of this are young people between the ages 15 to 29. I take this again. About 10 to 20% of this are young people from age 15, that is teenagers age 15 to 29. Studies suggest that for every suicide, there are at least 20 other individuals who attempt suicide. For every suicide, studies suggest that there are 20 more people who attempted to take their lives. During the week, I was reading an event on Facebook where a student of, I think, Unknowingly committed suicide. If I'm not mistaken, Unknowingly, UI or something, one of the Nigerian university, committed suicide. 2 other people attempted suicide, but they were rescued. But this last person, it was quite unfortunate that he was not able to be rescued and he took his life. This is serious. It's serious. So this is making the scope of the problem much larger. Mental health disorders such as depression, anxiety, and substance abuse are often linked to this tragic outcome, but many of these conditions go undiagnosed and untreated in young people. Mental health disorders such as depression, anxiety, and substance abuse are often linked to tragic outcome, linked to suicide. Mental health is a big deal. Is a big deal. And surprisingly, most parents don't see any big deal in taking care of their children's mental health. Now let's take it back home. Let's have overview of what is happening in Nigeria. World Population Review says that Nigeria's suicide rate is around 9.6 per 100 people. That is, in every 100 people, 100,000 people, 9.6 people commit suicide. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. You're welcome. While this is lower than global rates, it is important to know that youth suicide are underreported. We may think that 9.6 out of 1,000 people is really nothing to worry about. We should worry about it. Adeton, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me. We should worry about it. Why? Because suicide in Nigeria is underreported, meaning that there are lots of people that commit suicide that we don't even know about, that we are not even aware of. So it is a big deal. It is really a big deal. Nigerian Health Watch in 2019 highlighted that youth suicide is a growing concern with an increasing number of cases, especially in urban areas. This is linked to factors like academic pressure. We are coming there. Academic pressure, societal expectations, academic pressure by parents, by people around. You must come first, you must stay first position, you must graduate as first class students, you must not fail, you must pass. Academic pressure. Societal expectations, what the society is expecting from us, and family struggles. Then about 10% of individuals in need of mental health care receive it. We are having Nigerian overview. A large population of young people remain unaware of the resources available. So many young people are not even aware that there are resources to take care of their mental health. Health, like I said, is not a luxury. It is as important as our physical health. We will take care of our physical health by having good meal, using nice body cream, using perfume so that we can smell nice. Our mental health desire requires such attention, especially in this era. So let's move on. The family is the first place where a child learns to deal with his or her emotions, and it is also the place where a child learns to hide his or her emotions. According to Dr. Shimikang, a family, a home, is a place where children learn. They learn how to deal with their emotions. They learn how to manage their emotions. And at the same time, a home, a family, is a place where children learn to hide their pain, depending on the environment that their parents create for them. Ask you that what environments are you creating for your children? Is it the one that will empower them to deal with their emotions constructively, to label, manage, and express their emotions? Or the environment you are creating for your children is the one that will teach them how to hide their emotions? All right, let's move on. So we are saying mental health. Mental health. What is mental health? What is mental health? Mental health refers to a person's emotional, psychological, and social well-being. I take that again. Mental health refers to a person's emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Affect how we think, how we feel, and how we live our daily lives. Yes, our mental health affects how we think. It affects how we feel, and it affects how we behave in our daily life. Shade Akintola, thank you for joining me. Thank you for always, joining me. Thank you very much. It also influences how we handle stress, how we relate to others, and how we make decisions. This is where we are going to. Our mental health influences how we handle stress, how we relate to others, and how we make decisions. It is a mental state of someone dressed in suit, driving a luxurious car, and we park on the road and start exchanging blow. That reveals the mental status of such a person. Mental health influences how we handle stress, how we relate with others, and how we take decisions. So we should know by now that our mental health is an integral part of our life. Mental health doesn't mean being happy always, not at all. It means being able to cope with life's up and down emotions and functioning well in relationship and responsibilities. If we are mentally healthy, it doesn't mean that we will be happy always. No, that is not what mental health is about. But it means being able to cope with life's up and down, with stress, with disappointments, being able to manage emotions. And even when you are angry, you don't start breaking TV. You don't start hitting people because you are angry. No. And it means being able to function well, in our relationship and in our responsibilities. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. So our mental health says a lot about how we react, how we talk. You see some people opening their mouth talking and you wonder what is coming out of this. Daddy Adevomi, thank you so much. I'm glad you are here. Thank you for watching me. Thank you for joining me, sir. Thank you. So our mental health is almost everything we do to us. It means that someone that is mentally unhealthy make unhealthy decisions. Somebody that has poor mental health, can behave irrationally, can do things that are unthinkable. So it is important that we take our mental health seriously, especially in this era. All right. So mental health includes our emotional well-being, our cognitive function, that is how we think, resilience, ability to bounce back after defeat, and social connection. That is what emotional health include. Oladeji is, thank you for joining me. Thank you so much for joining me. So let's get on. What are the common parenting habits that harm our children unknowingly to us? Like I said earlier, We do these things out of good intention because we want our children to behave well. We want to raise perfect children. We want to raise children that when we say sit down there, they will sit down. When we say stand up, they will stand up. We do these things repeatedly, almost on daily basis, not knowing that it is damaging our children's. Those actions, those habits are damaging our children's mental health. One I like to talk about is excessive criticism. Excessive criticism. Do this. You are bad at this. You did not do this well. You're supposed to do this. You are not supposed to do it like this. This is what you should do. This is what you should not do. When children constantly hear that they are not good enough or that they always mess up, they begin to internalize this message. We even glorify criticism. We call it constructive criticism. Constructive criticism damages our children's mental health, and we keep doing this every time. All these things that I'm going to talk about today, I wasn't an exception of these habits, but out of my conscious efforts, I had to work myself out of these habits. That is where intentionality comes in. Excessive criticism. You will always see what your children are not doing well. You will not see what they did well. See it. It's complaint. Do this. Don't do this. You should not do it like this. What about those ones they are doing well? What about those ones? So when children are constantly hearing that they are always messing up, they are not behaving well, they are not measuring up to your standard, they are not meeting up your expectations, they begin to internalize this message. They begin to, feel damaged and unappreciated. Place this scenario. You are working in an office and you are working under a boss. You have a boss that would not see anything good in everything that you are doing. Sex criticism. How would you feel? Most times we think our children are trees, that they don't have feelings. That is why we treat them the way we treat them. But they are human beings. They have feelings, just like you and I. Feelings. If you, as a parent, will feel bad, if you are working under a boss who will always criticize every of your action, imagine what will be going on in the mind of your children anytime you criticize. Excessive criticism. Excessive criticism. The second one I like to talk about is emotional neglect. It happens when we dismiss our children's emotions, when we make them feel that their emotions doesn't matter. The child is crying, and instead of finding out why the child is crying, we say, keep quiet, you are disturbing me. What is making you to cry? Why are you crying? Is it because of this little thing? You will be fine. That is not a big deal. You will be all right. Those parenting habits are children's mental health. Children need to feel heard and validated. They need to feel seen, heard, and validated. Yes, sir. Daddy, I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. Comparison. Yes, sir. I'm coming to that. We neglect our children's emotions. We don't even teach them how to label their emotions, how to identify their emotions so that they can be able to manage their emotions constructively. This is one thing that we taught our children throughout last year, 2024. Being able to identify, label, and manage emotion. Because if you cannot label your emotion, you cannot fix it. When you are angry, you should be able to know that you are angry. That is when you can manage that anger without misbehaving. Some of us are even of the opinion, we do say, boys don't cry. Cry. You are a man now. Why should you cry? It's not human being. And men not human being. A child who is expressing his or her emotions, instead of us to validate that emotions, that feelings, we shut that emotions down. It damages children's mental health. No emotions need to be shut down, but to be addressed, to be affirmed, to be validated. So emotional neglect is another thing that damages our children's mental health. Emotional neglect. All right. Next one is unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations. I made a post, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. I was teaching a group of teenagers about relationship, having smooth relationship with their parents, something related to that. And as I was about to round up, I said in my mind that some of these teenagers are having grudges against their parents. I struggled with it, but eventually I shared it. And lo and behold, out of 40 teenagers, 37, yes, if a boy cries, now fuck off. We are of that opinion that if a boy cries, a boy doesn't cry now, you are a man, you should not cry. A damaging statement that we don't know. A boy has feelings too. Yes, Daddy, thank you for that. So, 37 out of these children felt what came to my mind, what was dropped in my mind, that they are having grudges against their parents. These are children, these are not troublesome children. I know some of them are close to me. I know them. They are not wayward children. They are just hurting. And when some of them shared what happened, it was heartbreaking. Unrealistic expectations. Setting high expectations for children can be beneficial, but when those expectations become unrealistic, it puts children under undue stress. It puts them under immense pressure. You know, a lot of us are of the opinion that it's not good to fail. That is not true. Any teaching says failure is bad is a false teaching. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is a pathway to success. If you want to succeed in life, you will definitely fail at some point. We even pray, we say, I shall not fail. I will not fail in Jesus' name. Failure is not my portion. Okay, since you have been praying that prayer, have you not failed? Have you not failed? That is why we keep beating the drum of success to our children. You must take first position. You must do this. You must, without recognizing their efforts. To let our children understand that starting is as good as winning. Failure is part of life. What we need to teach our children is how to bounce back after failure. There was an incident that I handled between one of my mentee. She came to me. She was having suicide thoughts. She wanted to take her life. And I asked, what happened? So what I was able to trace the cause of that to was that she couldn't make her papers in WAEC. And when she told me, I smiled. I said, well, it's okay. Feelings are valid. And I opened my own books, my pages of failure. Opened it from chapter to chapter. It was telling me I have failed in this area. I have failed in this area. I did this and I have failed. I did this and I have failed. I then asked her, how did you know that I have failed? She said, because you told me. Okay. So if I didn't tell you, you will not know that I have failed. Is a work of resilience, because I did not allow that failure, to hinder me from achieving. I then opened my success book, what I have achieved after that failure. She was surprised. I was really surprised. I also traced this to unrealistic expectation, academic pressure that was placed on her by our parents. I am not saying we shouldn't expect our children to succeed. I am not saying that we should be carefree, that we shouldn't, take our children's academics seriously. No, that's not what I'm saying. Academic success does not translate to success in life. If we understand this, we will stop putting unnecessary pressure on our children. Realistic expectation. When a child feels they must always achieve perfection, whether in academics or in behavior, they may develop a deep sense of a deep fear of failure. They will be afraid. They will not be able to explore. They will not be able to try new things. Failure is part of life. perfection is a myth. If you are listening to me and you are part of people that will say, I want my children to be perfect, I want to ask you, are you perfect? Perfect. If you are not perfect, then you cannot raise a perfect child. Expect our children to be perfect, not considering their personality, not considering who they are, not considering their strength and their weaknesses. And we set unnecessary unrealistic expectation. This fear can lead to avoidance, stress, and burnout. When you set expectations that are not age appropriate, that are too high for a child to accomplish, you can damage your child's mental health. And one serious thing about children is that they don't communicate that they are struggling with their mental health. They don't. No child will sit the parent down and will say, I am struggling with my mental health, so help me. No. They communicate through their actions, through their attitude. And sadly, most of us parents are not well equipped to be able to receive those attitudes, to analyze it, and to find out the reason behind that attitude. Instead of that, we keep complaining about our children's attitude. The next thing I want to talk about, like that Adebomi said, is comparison with others. Comparison with others. Hey, you see your friend? Why can't you behave like this person? Are you blind? Don't you see how this child is behaving? Compare one child to other children. It could be with other siblings or with other children. Comparison is a stealer of joy. And I keep telling parents, if you think you have the right to compare your child with other children, your children also have that right to compare you with other parents. So imagine that your child walk up to you and say, Daddy, my friend to school with Jeep, and me, I used to take Okada to school. Why can't you buy Jeep? How would you feel? Would you feel excited? The same way you are going to feel is the same way your child will feel when you compare your child with other children. Flower blossom at their own season. Your child is unique. Your child is okay. The fact that your child is struggling in one aspect of life, in one area of life, doesn't mean that your child has failed. No, it doesn't. That is a place of weakness. We all have our strengths and our weaknesses. All we need to do is to identify the weaknesses, the strengths, and build our children from the place of strength, not from the place of weakness. Most times we focus on weaknesses. You don't do this. You are poor in mathematics. You are poor in chemistry. You are poor in this subject. What about creative arts? What about music that the child is doing so well? What about the painting that the child is doing excellently well? We fail to focus on our children's strength. We focus more on their weaknesses and we keep comparing them. It damages their mental health, unknown to us. Every child is unique, and comparison can diminish their self-confidence and sense of self-worth. No child will be happy when you compare him or her with other children. Comparison brings sense of not good enough. That means I'm not measuring up to others. No child, no one will feel happy about that. Let's talk about lack of affection and positive reinforcement. Lack of affection. Most of us parents don't know how to show affection to our children. We don't even know that our call as parents is to be a nurturer. A nurturer. Pats on the back, words of affirmation, they are underestimated in parenting. There are important tools that you can use to build your child's mental health. Words like, I'm proud of you, I love you, you are doing well. This is what I, as a person, didn't enjoy when I was growing up. My husband, as a person, didn't enjoy this. And we have made conscious efforts. We make conscious efforts. We hug our children 2 times a day. That is at least 2 2 times a day. A child that you are showing affection to will stay connected to you. Words of affirmation, they are powerful. You are doing well. I am proud of you. You are great. Sometimes I look at my daughter and say, yeah, you are beautiful. Yes, you are beautiful. You are handsome. You are cute. So that they will not go out there and someone will tell them you are beautiful, and they will be wondering, oh, so I'm beautiful. Yes, affirmation, words of affirmation, lack of affection, it damages our children's mental health, and it's high time as parents that we look into this. If you have not been affectionate with your children, this is a challenge for you today. Not be giving them positive reinforcement, affirmation. I am challenging you today to start. All right. Overprotectiveness and controlling behavior. It is okay as parents to want to protect our children, but we shouldn't overprotect them. Overprotect our children. While protecting children is a natural parental instinct, excessive control can prevent them from developing independence. Lack of autonomy prevents our children from developing independence and confidence. My mom is here. My mom is watching me. Mommy, thank you for joining me. You're welcome. You're welcome. Protectiveness can make children feel incapable of handling challenges on their own, leading to anxiety and difficulty in making decisions. Let your children fail in your presence. One of my favorite quotes says, a child who is not allowed to fail as a child will fail as an adult. That is the fact. Let your child react failure in your own, so that when they go outside there and they fail, they will be able to handle failure. A child want to take his or her life because the child failed exam. Why will a child want to take his or her life because someone, a lover, her heart, his or her heart? Why? It means that the child has not learned how to manage disappointment, how to manage failure. Give your children room to fail in your presence. Let them learn how to handle challenges. Let them learn how to manage failure. So when they get out there and they fail, they will be able to manage the failure, not to take their lives. 2 terms ago, when I went to pick our daughter in school, it was their first day, they were writing exam. And our teacher called me. It's like, your child didn't prepare well. She didn't do well in her exam. Please try to prepare her so that she will not fail. What? Am I the one writing the exam? I'm not the one writing the exam. I have given her everything that she needs to do well. Responsibility to ensure that she passes her exam. And if she decides not to do her own part, fine, let her fail. At least she will learn how not to fail again. Let our children learn how to manage challenges. While it is okay to want to protect our children, it is not okay to overprotect them. Let us allow our children to take decisions. Most times, we want to take all the decisions for our children. We want to decide the food they eat. We want to decide the dresses they put on. We want to decide who they make friends with. We even want to decide how they think. How? This parenting habits is affecting our children's mental health. Overprotectiveness and controlling behavior. Some of us cannot even leave our children to play with other children. We are shouting, hey, I don't know what will happen to my children. I don't want my child to fall. Oh. Just ensure that there are no harmful objects around the playground. When your child plays and the child falls today, the child will learn how to play with caution next time. Let's move on. The next thing is using guilt. We are talking about parenting habits that damages our children's mental health, that harm our children's mental health. Guilt or shame, using guilt or shame as discipline. Using guilt or shame as discipline. Some of us use guilt as a way to control our children's behavior. Saying something like this, you make me so disappointed. I am disappointed in you. After everything I have done for you, this is how you are behaving. Using shame. Getting the child to feel responsible for our emotions, for our feelings. No, your child is not responsible for your feelings. You are responsible for your feelings. Shame. Something happened. Our son did something on Friday. And the African mother in me will use shame as discipline strategy. Because I am aware of the damages that shame can cause a child, we addressed it in another way. Shame makes people shrink. It makes people hide. These two lead to growth. I take that again. Shame makes people shrink. Guilt makes people hide. One of the two lead to growth. Just imagine yourself being humiliated because of a bad behavior. Imagine how you will feel. Feel alright? Parents shared an incident where our father took her to school, to a secondary school, because she misbehaved. The father took her to school, brought her out in the assembly ground to shame her, to embarrass her. Thank you for joining me. Thank you very much. To shame her. She's now a mother and she hasn't forgotten. The wound is so deep that she has developed resentment against the father. What we lack as parents is empathy. We fail to put ourselves in our children's shoe. The shame, the guilt that we are using as disciplinary measure for our children, if the same is done to us, how would we feel? Definitely not good. All this, I'm disappointed in you. Yeah, you fucked up, you messed up. After everything I've done for you, I provided this, I did this for you, and you are doing this. Let's come down from that table. This can lead to deep-seated guilt and anxiety in children, making them feel as though they are responsible for your emotions. I repeat this. Guilt makes someone hide. A child that feels guilty, we hide. We hide his or our potentials. We hide his or our weaknesses. And a child that is feeling shameful, we shrink. Guilt and shame, neither of these two will lead to growth. Let's move on. Now, how do we break this cycle? How do we break this cycle? Like I said, everything that I mentioned today, I am number one of it. Talk of shame. I know how to do that very well. Talk of comparison. Those of us that will say, your child has, your friend is taking presents, gifts. Do they have two heads? But because I am intentional and I understand the magnitude of damage that this parenting habits can cause our children, I've been intentional on my parenting journey. And I deal no more with those habits. This cycle of excessive criticism, emotional neglect, unrealistic expectations, comparison, lack of attention, overprotectiveness, and guilt-driven discipline don't end on their own. They will not end on their own. They end when someone, that is you and I, when we decide to end it. This cycle ends with me, and I think the cycle should end with you too, because it's messing up our children's mental health. Because we are not so intentional to receive feedback from our children. We don't even know that some of our attitude as parents are damaging our children. We are damaging the so-called children, the very children that we love. Like I said earlier, that we do all these things out of love. But when pain cries louder, love is not enough. Your good intention will not erase the emotional damage that you cause your children. Yes, let me say this again. Your good intention, the fact that you have good intention, that you are doing all these habits, you are criticizing your children, you are overprotecting your children, you are setting unrealistic expectations for your children. Your good intention will not erase the wound that those habits will create in your children. A lot of us grow up with resentment to our parents. Does that mean we hate our parents? No, of course we don't. But there's part of us that is resenting because of what we have experienced from our parents. Maybe you grew up in a home where love is conditional. You are loved. You experience love only when you do well. Where mistakes were not lessons, but evidence that you were not enough. Maybe that's where you grew up. You grew up to understand that when you make mistake, it means that we are not good enough. Where silence is replaced with support. Where guilt replaces guidance. If this sounds familiar, then you will agree with me that pain isn't always loud. Sometimes it is the absence of what we need, what we needed most. Yes, we should let them know who we are by not living a fake life. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are right, sir. You are right, sir. So we need to break this cycle. We should break this cycle. We should create a new legacy. And that is where intentionality comes in. You know one thing about parenting, if you are not conscious, if you are not intentional, you will keep parenting the way you are parented, even though you hate it, even though it hurts, you will keep doing that. If I ask some of us now that were beaten when we were younger, did we like it? Of course no. I still have marks on my body of cane. My mother is watching. My mother is watching. There is a mark on my hair. It was broom. She beat me with broom. Did I like it? No. Was I doing the same with my children? Yes. I was doing the same with my children, even though I didn't like it, even though I hated it, even though it hurt me. But I was still doing the same thing to my children until I made that conscious effort to break that cycle. So we need to break the cycle and create a new legacy. A new legacy that will build our children's mental health. That will give them healthy mental health, healthy mental status. That will empower them to take positive decisions in their lives. When something is all you have known, it is easy to repeat it. Of course, I found myself beating my children anyhow. Why? Not because I wanted to, but because that was all that I knew. That was all that I knew. And I'm sure that is what is happening with most parents now. Not because you want to do, but because it feels normal. But here is the truth. This is the truth. Because something is normal to you doesn't mean it is okay. It doesn't mean it is right. And it doesn't mean you should pass it on. No. This cycle must end with us. So what are the steps to create the new legacy? Number one, silence the voice of excessive criticism. If the loudest voice in your head is tearing you down, then breaking the cycle starts with changing the conversation. Silence that voice. Silence the voice. When you feel like criticizing your child for doing something bad, pause, think. Am I criticizing or am I guiding? Replace criticism with guidance. One bad thing about criticism is that it puts children at the defensive, end. Once you are criticizing a child, the child will want, by default, the child will want to defend him or herself. And that is what leads to resentment. Instead of criticizing, guide. Discipline is not about beating, it's not about shouting, it's not about control. It's about teaching and teaching and teaching. So silence that voice. Silence that voice. Because we expect so much from children, what we have not taught them, we assume that they should know. We keep criticizing. Anything that you have not taught your child, you don't have right to discipline that child for it. If you have not taught your children how to do a thing, then you should not discipline them when they refuse to do it the way you want. The next thing to do, the next step is to give what you didn't receive. I have heard a lot of parents saying, my children will enjoy what I didn't enjoy. Why it is okay? It is okay for your children to enjoy what you didn't enjoy during your childhood. It is very much okay to give your children, to teach your children what you were not taught as a child. Refuse to withhold the very thing you begged for. If you crave for attention while you are growing up, be that parent who gives attention. Lavish your attention upon your children. If you are that parent who lacks positive affirmation while you are growing up, be that parent. Be the very person you needed when you were young. Pain doesn't justify passing anything down. Healing does. So give what you didn't receive. Sit back. At the Model Family Focus, we run a course, Healing the Inner Child. What this course does is that it calls back your childhood. You will see your childhood right in front of you. You will see everything you ever craved for, everything you lacked, every pain you have passed through, every disappointment, every shame. You will see it like this. You will call your childhood out. And one of the things that course will do to you as a parent is that it will help you to reparent yourself. You cannot go through that course and remain the same. You will reparent yourself because you will know what you missed and it will empower you to provide what you missed to your children. So give what you didn't receive. Be that parent that you needed when you were young. The next thing is to set realistic expectations for yourself and for your children. Set realistic expectations. I said it earlier, perfection is a myth and growth is messy. This is what I have learned. Perfection is a myth. It does nothing than to set us up for frustration and anger. If you want to be perfect, you want your children to be perfect, you will be frustrated. And you will be full of anger because your children are not going to be perfect, just like you can't be perfect. But be concerned, be focused on their growth. Perfection is a journey, it's not a destination. So instead of focusing on success, be perfect, focus on growth. Your children are as worthy as they are, not just when they achieve. I am worthy as I am, not when I achieve. So choose to celebrate progress, not just results. Allow room for mistakes. I've discussed this. Allow room for mistakes. Let your children make mistakes. Let them disappoint you at home so that when they go out, they will not bring bigger disappointment to you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. Thank you so much. They will not bring shame to you. The only reason why a child will leave home to the university and will go there and go and mess up is because that child has not been given autonomy. That child has not been allowed to take decisions, to make mistakes, to commit error. That is why you will be afraid that your child is going out. You don't know what your child is doing. If you have done your own work well, you won't be afraid and your child will not disappoint you. So allow room for mistakes because really that's where learning takes place. It is from mistakes that we learn. We gain mastery from our mistakes. Stop the comparison game. Comparison was a weapon used against many of us, like I said earlier. But comparison never inspires. But it does what? It suffocates. Comparison can never inspire. The only thing is that it will suffocate you. So when you're comparing your child to other siblings or other children, you are suffocating your child. That is the truth. You are suffocating your child. So refuse to measure your children's worth with someone else's ruler. Refuse to measure your children's worth with someone else's ruler. Use your child's ruler to measure his or her success. My value isn't being better than others. It is in being fully myself. Your children's value should not be in they better than other children. No, it is living in their fullness, who they are. We run parenting diagnosis assessments at the Model Family Focus, and one of the things that this assessment does is that it brings out your child's personality, your child's strength, and your child's weakness. It empowers you to help your child to develop that weakness from strength. If you have not run that test, I can tell you for free that you are parenting in error. You need to run that test. It will change your parenting trajectory. It will change your approach to parenting. It will change how you perceive parenting. So it will make you to appreciate your children more, because you will identify your child's strength. What you don't even believe that your child is capable of doing, this assessment will point them out for you, and you'll be amazed. Stop that comparison game. Stop comparing your children with other children. Stop comparing your children with other siblings. They are differently enabled. There's no point comparing any child. Give attention and give positive reinforcement. Affirm your children. Even if they do something and they do not do it right, appreciate the effort they put in. Oh, I'm glad with the effort you put into achieving this. I recognize that effort. You know what? Those words of affirmation, it's like a push. It's like a push. When you affirm a child, the child will want to do better. The child will want to impress you. Olatade Olatunji, thank you for joining me. Give attention. People blossom when they are nurtured. Parents, you are a nurturer. You are not a destroyer. You are not a bully. Until you understand that your children are plants that you need to nurture, then you will change your parenting approach. You are a nurturer. And plants will only blossom when they are nurtured. Your children will blossom when they are nurtured, not when they are torn down. When all they hear is rejection, you are not good, you are bad, you are poor, you are do this. If you have not been affirming your children, start now. Start now. It will give your children healthy mental status. Even as an adult, when I do some things that my husband says, I'm proud of you, it stirs something within me. It stirs something within me. I have a senior friend, a family friend who is a professor, who will always call me and say, I'm learning, from your post, from your Facebook page, I've learned a lot. You have helped me in my parenting journey. I'm proud of you. Do you know, each time I hear that I'm proud of you, it's like I'm hearing it for the first time. Oh, so I'm doing something right, so I need to do more. The same thing applies to our children. Even when they fail, tell them, I'm proud of you, even though you have not done well. How can we work this out? Instead of pulling them down, how can we help? How can I be your help? Stop dismissing your children's emotions. When you dismiss your child's emotions, you tear them up. You tear them up. When your child is crying, find out why. Don't shut them. Stop crying is not the right statement when a child is crying. Stop crying is not. Give attention. Give positive reinforcement. Praise your children when necessary. If all you ever heard were corrections but never praise, you know the emptiness that comes from never feeling good enough. If you have ever felt not good enough, if you ever had that sense of not good enough, you can understand the emptiness that comes from it. So you can imagine what runs through your mind, your child's mind, when you don't affirm them, when you don't praise them. Choose to be the voice that says, I see you. You matter. You are doing great. You are doing well. Be that voice. Be that voice. Say that to your children. I'm proud of you. You are doing well. I see you. I recognize your effort. Because a single word of encouragement can do what years of criticism can never do. It can lift someone up. Positive reinforcement, affirmation can lift someone up. Can lift someone up. All right. Let's go of overprotectiveness disguised as love. Maybe you are raised out of control and not trust. Every decision was made for you and fear was mistaken for love. But real love isn't suffocating, it's empowering. Love does not suffocate, it empowers. Protecting someone doesn't mean controlling them. Love is not a cage. Love is not a cage. It is a foundation for which your children should fly. You are caging your children. You know, we often say this, I love you, that's why I'm doing this. Sometimes when you beat a child and you say, I'm doing this because I love you, we are teaching children that love and pain goes together, and they don't. They don't. You can't claim you love me and you continuously damage me. You continuously bruise my emotion. No. That small hit can leave deep wound that will last a lifetime. Guide without smoothing, protect without limiting, and love without condition. Love without condition. Love without condition. Even when your children are not measuring up to your standard, love. Even when you feel disappointed, love. Even when they failed you, love. Love unconditionally. Stop the guilt, shame. Stop using guilt and shame as discipline. Stop using guilt and shame. Thank you for joining me, sir. Thank you very much. I see you. Stop using guilt and shame. Stop using guilt. Do not use your children's worst moment to define their world. No. Learn to separate your children's behavior from them. Your child is not the behavior. The behavior is not your child. That your child is exhibiting ill behavior. It's not the same thing as your child. You need to separate them. I do give this analogy when anytime I'm talking about, behavior and a child. Abiodun Adeleke, thank you for joining me. I see you. Thank you very much. Your child is like a plant. And the bad behavior is like weeds around your plant. You wouldn't say because you want to remove the plant and the weed and destroy the plant. No, you wouldn't do that. You will carefully remove the weed. Why? So that your plants can grow well. That is how to handle children. Your child is like a plant standing and surrounded with weeds, the bad behavior. You carefully separate the weed from your child and your child will grow well. So stop using guilt. Instead of making your children feel bad for their mistakes, teach them how to do better with patience, with guidance, with love, with understanding. My friend, Moshood Ridwan, thank you for joining me. I recognize your presence. With patience, with kindness, with understanding, with empathy. Let that be your watchword. Empathy. Put yourself in your child's shoe. What you're about to do to your child, if the same thing is done to you, how will you feel? If you can pause, in another time, we will talk about impulse control in parenting, the power of impulse control in parenting. We'll talk about it some other time. Pause and think. Thank you very much, my friend. Pause and think, what I'm about to do to this child. If the same thing is done to me, how would I feel? How would I feel? So instead of making your children to feel bad for making mistakes, teach them how to do it better. Teach them how to do it better with patience, with love, with understanding, with empathy. Breaking the cycle isn't about stopping the bad habits. No, it's about creating better ones. Now we have broken the table and we have replaced it. You now know the bad habits, the bad parenting habits that are damaging our children's mental health, and you have been equipped with new habits that you can use to build your children's mental health so that your children can have skills to take decisions. Like I said in my introduction, that our mental health, our mental status influences how we think, how we feel, how we relate with others, and how we take decisions. Most importantly, how we take decisions. So breaking the cycle is not just about stopping the habit. You have to stop it and replace it. It's about creating better ones. You have the power to rewrite the story. If I can rewrite the story, you have the power to rewrite the story. The only skill that I know, that I knew in correcting a child is beating. Yes, because that was what was passed over to me. But I have created a new legacy and I'm still working on it. Yes, I'm still working on my parenting journey. Even as a parenting expert, I am still working on my parenting journey. To be the parent you needed when you were younger, to choose love over fear, kindness over shame, and healing over hurt. After this session, you might need to call your children and ask them. We do this often with our children. We call them. What is it that we have been doing that you don't like? You might try it and you will be amazed. You'll be surprised that those habits that you think they're harmless, that you are just doing as parents, you will be surprised at how deep those habits has damaged your children. You will be amazed. So you need to choose love over fear, healing over hurt. If you have the power to break the cycle, you have the responsibility to. If you have the power to break the cycle, and I am telling you now that you have the power to break the cycle, so you have the responsibility to do. So if you have been waiting for the permission to break the cycle, Ayoluwa Adedeji, the parenting guru, I am giving you the permission to break that cycle. Yes, you now have the permission to break the cycle. You have the permission. You don't have to carry what wasn't yours to hold. That cycle should be broken. You don't have to pass down what was passed to you. That cycle must stop with you. That cycle must stop with me. My name is Ayoluwa Adedeji. I am the founder and the lead consultant at the Model Family Focus. Very soon, we are launching our weekly teaching on parenting. We'll be holding our weekly teaching, but it's not going to be on Facebook. It will be on my YouTube channel. So if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go and subscribe. Oluwaseun Ademola, thank you for joining me. I can see you. Thank you so much. Go and subscribe. I will dedicate 1 hour every week to be teaching you about parenting just for free. For free. Parenting is not intuitive. It's not an intuition. It's a skill that we need to learn. Our parents parented us with assumptions. They prepared us for the life that is not existing now. When we were growing up, there was no internet. There There were no phones like this. A lot of things that our children are exposed to now, they were not present. So it's our time that we face our parenting journey with intentionality, so that we can raise children who are well balanced and well rounded. So if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. If you are watching me and you have not followed me, please do so, so that you will not miss out. Every day I teach on my Facebook page. I talk about parenting, and I've been receiving a lot of comments, a lot of positive review. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel, so that you can have access. If you don't subscribe, you will not have access to those free resources. Thank you for watching me. If you have any question, you can drop the question. I will surely attend to them. And my contact is available. You can get across to me through my email, my phone number. If you have anything relating to parenting, I will gladly attend to you. And if you want me to address a particular topic, please feel free to drop it, and I will surely work on it. Thank you all for joining me today. I am so glad, I am so excited to have you here. Thank you for joining me. Please drop in the comment section, what are you going with on this live session? What is that message? What is that thing that hits you most in this live session? Drop it in the comment section. Let's do this again next time. Thank you for joining me. Bye.